wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a...
Hello and welcome listeners to another episode of Tactical Awareness. It's Season 2. My name is Ash and I'm joined by my friends Owen and Dan to break down the big changes in Corvus Belli's landmark science fiction game, Infinity N5. In this second episode, we'll be going through equipment, weapons, deployables, all the gear that you can handle, and what tectonic shifts that's made to the game, or subtle things you might have missed. So let's check in with Owen and Dan, see how the boys are doing, and then get this underway.
What are we talking about now?
This is...
Where am I?
what is
I'm confused.
It's equipment time. It's gear. It's the gear episode. Gear episode, because it's the hottest of hot takes. You guys think gear ruined the edition so far. And we're breaking down our highlight reel from the top fives episode of Tactical Awareness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tactical Awareness. I'm here with Owen and Dan. We are three Infinity friends from Canada who live on opposite sides of the country and host an Infinity podcast for people that like playing Infinity and even people that hate Infinity. You can also come. You can listen. You can disagree with us. No, I like them the most. I like when my oppositional defiance disorder kicks in. It takes a while. Owen's kicks in immediately, even when people agree with him. Mine takes longer to kick in. But we're talking about gear today, because in our previous episode, man, gear was of hot takes. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to start by talking about the list that Owen's made, talk about the three factions that can really lean into this, and talk about some of the big gear changes from this edition, because there's a couple other ones that we haven't gone through yet that I think we should probably mention, and then talk about why the deployables one really stuck out last episode, because there are a few that are probably worth mentioning, but the visors I think are probably a good one to start off with, because we got two big changes in visors. Biovisor just nerfs, finally does its job and gets rid of all levels of impersonation. It also
as a local O12 player with an infinite number of biovisors, makes you very happy.
And then MSV3 just does not require Discover roll to see through camo markers. It just shoots them. Just starts blasting. And the combination of that and suppression can be very deadly. Any other ones that stuck out to you guys? I didn't see any real big changes to Holo at all. They all seemed relatively the same. Martial arts, I guess. Oh, no, that's not equipment, though. That's a skill. Baggage is the same. Oh, Bang Bomb. I don't like Bang Bomb. Let's talk about Bang Bomb. Okay. It's like a flashbang, and the requirement is an enemy trooper is in your line of fire or is under control and declares an attack against you, and you declare a dodge. You get the Bang Bun mod to your dodge roll. This mod's listed, but you can't use it against template weapons. So
it's ninja smoke. You're throwing ninja smoke at your feet. It doesn't work against templates because the template's going to hit you or not. And
so it's just a cheaper version of Dodge Plus.
It's a worse Dodge Plus.
Yeah.
It's also a worse smoke.
It's a worse smoke grenade.
So what I've found this edition. Yeah. See, the thing is with smoke, the smoke doesn't give you a plus anymore. So a smoke dodge is no longer better than a normal dodge, except for the
thrown smoke grenades lost their. That's actually worth talking about too. This is almost replacing the smoke dodge in some ways.
This is the alternate smoke dodge.
Yeah, and it can't be used against templates, but it can be used against anyone in your zone of control, regardless of line of fire, or anyone in your line of fire declaring an attack. So you can use it in melee too. It's also smoke that works against melee.
Interesting. I like that, actually.
Mm-hmm. If you're a ninja and you throw it at your feet, like, it just works.
Yeah, it's the Dale Gribble pocket sand. Pocket sand.
Yeah. If you're a ninja and you're throwing bang bombs at melee, you're in trouble.
Well, there's a few people out there who will beat that ninja to death in the current.
That's exactly.
So, yeah. What I mean is your ninja's melee is probably much better than their.
So
bang
who's
bombs.
Got bang bombs is the next question. Who actually has bang bombs?
Ninjas do actually have it.
I was going to say that makes sense.
Yeah. I was making a joke, but it's also true.
I'm just curious. I don't see them under listed equipment. Maybe they're under weapons.
No, it's actually on their profile, like right at the very top.
You can't.
You can never look it up.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, that's so stupid.
Yeah, good luck.
I shout out
I
to
hate this
Human Sphere,
immediately.
who has compiled like everything in searchable for N4, and
Okay.
Godspeed on updating for N5.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't see bang bombs anywhere on ninjas actually.
1 second, I'll open it up on
I'm looking
my.
at ninjas right now in Yucheng. Maybe the new ninja, the whatchamacallit ninja, the one that's the
Oh, sorry. Are you
JSA
looking
guy?
at the other faction? Because
Yucheng
JSA
ninjas.
is the real faction. Saito gets it. Ninjas. Oh, ninjas don't get it.
No, they don't get it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what
sorry. No,
I think it's the
other
other
ninjas
ninja,
do.
the Kuriyami
Kuriyami
ninja gets
ninjas
it.
do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was talking about. They get
I like that
equipment bang
Saito
bomb
gets it.
+4. It's weird that it's +4. Does that also weird you guys out at all?
Most of it is +4. I don't know
That's
why,
such a
but
weird
they're almost
number.
all +4.
So they dodge melee attacks on 17s or guns on 17s, which is nice. But they're also, I guess they're only mim -3, so this is letting them dodge with a mim bonus. Yeah, I can see
because
it.
in melee they're CC 25.
These are the Jubays. These are the guys with the cool hats. These are the Ninja Scroll guys. So I like the fact they have smoke grenades or like little bang bombs. I just don't. It's a weirdly situational thing, and it hasn't. I just wish it was on my profiles and/or that I could search for it. I hate the fact that I can't. Oh no, I can search for it here. It just doesn't exist at all in Yucheng. It's just Saito
It's
and
equipment.
ninjas.
It is under equipment. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's just nobody else has it. I think literally that's the only faction that has it. Equipment. Oh no, bang bombs are no 12 on Nightshades.
Interesting.
Nightshades get bang bombs. Yep. They did not used to have this, so this is new for them.
Yes.
That means they can dodge on 16s with their mim -6.
That's actually pretty good.
And they're up CC 22. Like they're actually like your one melee piece, but because they only have EM and para weapons, you might want to charge them.
Well, the EM weapons do damage as well.
They do, yes. Does anybody in Drew's have it?
Saito.
Drew's does, yeah. Saito. Does anybody in any of these other ones have it? I'm guessing no. Does anyone in Steel Phalanx or Aleph have it?
So in general, there's a lot of this weird equipment and skill that has been introduced where it's like not super common and it kind of just exists. And I think people are going to completely forget about it for a while and eventually will accept that it's a thing.
Drakios has it weirdly he's one of the Aleph guys that went to whatchamacallit combined army, and he's got one with his multi-rifle. So he's also CC only 21, but it's Fizz 13, so he dodges on 17s with albedo -6.
I think it's worth for people who haven't listened to the first episode or one more like baggage.
Yeah,
it's such a crazy change for the reload to become a short skill. So you can now you have to do movement first, so you can't move out and then baggage, or can you? Because it's all simultaneous.
You can move out because you start inside zone of control.
Right. So if you were in zone of control at the beginning of your movement, you move, then you can declare a reload. Because you were there.
Bandits also have bang bomb, by the way.
Good old bandits.
So bang bomb, biometric visor, and baggage, all with some minor changes because that's being a short skill now.
And baggage automatically reloads everybody.
Automatically reloading in the states phase. That's the big thing. You get free orders basically for everybody that's standing inside zone of control.
But it's like like pitchers, like you throw some pitchers and you're like, okay, I'm done because it's not worth reloading.
Getting more pitchers is crazy.
Now pitchers they stopped getting they don't have a positive range band anymore. It's like the same as like a grenade launcher. It's just a 0, but it's longer. So it goes. I was going to say
that means that what's her face gets unlimited pitchers now if she just sits next to a thing. You're going to have to deal with
like every turn you can
or all the Drews guys. Also, pitchers have better range bands than they used to.
Yeah,
but pitchers spotlight is now burst 2. So burst 1. I'll go along with pitchers, but you have a save against it. Unless it's a forward observer action. If you forward observer someone, they automatically spotlighted like before. Which is weird.
Oh, but she's gone. I'm looking for my favorite hacker character lady. Oh, Jazz and Billy, they are still there. She still does have.
So baggage has a lot of implications.
Baggage reloading some of these these limited troops that used to be super obnoxious otherwise is going to be a problem for some armies.
But it's cool because baggage used to be like it's okay, whatever. You get some
Well,
bonus
order
points
intensive.
in certain missions.
Just getting it for
There's-
free in the States phase is huge. Because you do your
Right.
thing with that you want with your pictures for the turn, and then next turn you can do it again. It didn't cost you any orders. It's just
I
back
think
on the
you'll see
table,
more
basically.
baggage,
Yeah,
which
probably.
is cool, which
Yeah.
is fun.
I
think
agree.
the jammer benefited the most because
Oh,
it's such
jammer.
it's such an obnoxious like active reactive thing, and the
Yeah,
fact
it
that it
doesn't
will
need
come
line of
back
fire.
just for being
Like-
nearby.
Like when I finally get rid of all your jammers and they're all gone, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. It's like, I don't have to deal with them anymore. But
All right, well,
not anymore.
that was the baggage change. Deactivator might finally be slightly useful. The target must be in the user's line of fire or zone of control. So you just have to be able to see it or have it out of line of sight, but inside your zone of control, which means you can go around walls from mines and stuff and do this.
It does
And-
have its own range bands as well.
Yeah. And then what you can do is the user of a deactivator by passing a normal whip roll can deactivate the enemy deployable weapon or piece of equipment. So it means you can get rid of fast pandas, wild parrots, you would not want to do this to without just being able to see them. You don't want to do the zone of control thing because they'll attack you. But you can just turn off deployable cover that you can see, deployable repeaters, and artillery turrets. What's an artillery turret?
You know that's supposed to be armed turret.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Hey, we found our first weird word thing.
Hypermagnetic red cannon.
Basically,
I want a turret that ARO speculative fires.
So that is it just does guided missiles. It's just a deployable guided missile launcher. So having the deactivator be able to do that in zone of control now without line of fire is a huge change. Deployable cover, we already talked about this in the last episode, but Owen, do you want to just go over again how insane this thing is?
Yeah, I mean it's the biggest claim to fame it has, in my opinion, is the +6 to armor. Like there's two variants. One is -3 to hit and +3 cover, like normal cover is, but only applies to your troops. So like if an enemy walks up to it, they don't benefit from cover in any way. But then the flip side one is anyone can go to cover against it, but they get +6 to their armor to a maximum of 12. Part of me looks at that and goes, okay, high armor guys are going to benefit very much from this because it'll push them into like Yodam and that level of armor.
Yeah.
But my real thought is that it actually brings up a bunch of guys who should be just speed bumps, like people that you should be able to just kill. Like I have a list with 10 grunt snipers. Normally that would, like, they're only 1 wound arm 3 guys, like they'd go down. But if they're armor 9, even high powered guns, you're most likely going to survive getting shot by them.
Yeah.
And even if you hit them with things like AP, they go down 1. So instead of armor 9, they're armor 8. Like that's huge. And then you even go further when you start adding things like models like the hoplites who have enhanced immunity. And so they're armor 9 BTS 12 against everything.
Total
immunity. There's no way to reduce it.
Yeah, can't
the big balancing factor in it though is it's awkward to play. Like you got to get your engineers over to the. What I mean is the engineer has to like run up on that rooftop, place it,
right,
and then kind of it's a little more.
Yep. You got to set
it
up.
And it's round. You know what I mean? It's round, so like it kind of
size 3.
Size 3 is interesting because it's a bubble. You can't line guys up behind it that easy. You know what I mean? Because it's this weird circular shape.
You maybe get 2 people pretty easily, but maybe not 3.
Yeah.
Indiscriminate does mean the enemy can use it though. So if you leave it behind, they can take it away.
And if someone hits you with a template weapon, like a missile launcher or rocket launcher,
Sure.
It ignores all that armor. So
I love that deactivator somehow turns it off too. It's just like it just folds up and goes home. It's like the Iron Man briefcase suit. Like he just like looks at it and just turns back into a briefcase, and the guy behind's like, "Oh fuck!"
and you might be able to slice the pie to see the cover box,
just
but
not
the
control.
person.
Just getting under control of it, right? You
Also
stick it behind
control.
a wall next to it, and it's like an 18 to turn it off because it doesn't have any save, and you're +6 because you're inside 8.
So yeah, you get +6 inside 8, +3 to 16, and then a -6 Hail Mary up to 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
like of course, and one of the things I like about the deployable cover is that there is a counter to it. Like you can use certain weapon types, you can do different things that like you could just turn that cover off. So if they invested in it and you got a deactivator, you can offset it. Different for the turrets, but like I do.
But you also
like
have to place it certain places. It's somewhat order intensive if you want it everywhere. Like you can't like spam it as easily.
This is
I think it's a cool change.
Yeah, this is something that you had in mind when you started playing.
Yeah.
That like this was basically the way I look at it is normally on a board setup, there's objectives across the middle, and you can't effectively get cover back and front. against things that are coming. And now what it is the guys who are going to go do that job, you also have the cover person comes with them and puts that cover in such a way that will protect them from the push that's going to come back.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you can be incredibly, because like if you put this thing behind your guy where you may not get an ARO if they walk in from behind, you still get the +6 armor. And so all of a sudden a guy who may get shot for free in the back before he gets to turn around is just armor 10 or 11. And boom, you're probably going to live. And it cost you having another specialist nearby that you needed anyway. So that's my thinking of how this is going to work. Like this is going to be a lot of, I'm going to move up to the corner to watch the corner. And then my engineer friend is going to slap this behind me, touching my bum so that I get the bonus from it and then leave. And they'll go prone on a rooftop or something. And this model is going to stand there and suppress or just be a challenging thing that you have to overcome with normal cover facing one way and double cover for their backside where they don't get the bonuses. That's what I'm imagining how this is going to play out.
It feels like
so
where
they
you
get links.
Yeah, and you build a list where there's a piece that you specifically want to have benefit from this cover. So like
Right.
some armies are going to want to lean into it because they just got this like obnoxious combination that +6 armor is going to make insane.
Yeah,
like just some scenarios where you just want to
Yeah.
be looking at a button or something, and you put someone on suppression looking at it with that cover, and you're like, well,
this would have been a good thing to put into BPON. Had
for
this
sure.
existed at the time,
Mhm.
you could have made it where the turn one player who normally just gets screwed can build their own fort
Yeah.
to try and hold the point.
That's it. And then push the ball behind the fort with you while it's in
and then
contact with you.
now
while you
all of a
defend it,
sudden you're not just like Avatar is standing in the middle touching the ball. I sure hope I don't die.
It does mean that those like capture the flag, push a beacon missions, you have this like ability to build a fort in the middle of like an open killing zone that your opponent might push it into, which I think is actually a really good thing for the game. Like, yes, there'll be these corner cases where, you know, you're going to stick a Yoda next to it, blah, 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 whatever Owen's dark imagination can come up with. But there's going to be times where it's just a good thing to have.
Speedball was the first answer for Yodam.
Yeah.
Regenerating Yodam was the real threat that exists.
4 wound Yodam. Here we go. Just 4 wound Yodam on cocaine.
Who could also just completely fail, take 4 wounds, and then just get back up again because he goes to his second level of unconscious and is like, not yet, sir.
Not today. What did we say to the god of death?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. No, it's wild.
With
you can just take
presence?
a missile to the
Remote
chest and then just stand up
So
anyway.
Yeah, he pulls an Undertaker and just like sits up. So deployable cover ECM hasn't really changed. It's just the same negative mod. Fast pandas are the same. Gizmo kits are the same. All the hack devices are the same.
Gizmo kits are, well, they are the same, but it never says structure. The same thing with med kits. It never says vitality.
Does it actually never say that?
No. At the very beginning. It says
Oh.
models with a structure attribute to remove wounds. And then during it never says
Oh,
it.
in the actual rule itself, it doesn't say that.
No.
Just at the beginning, it says that. Okay.
It's obviously intended to be there, and they're probably going to change it. But
Sure.
I thought it was funny.
The trooper. I'm just seeing if it says they remove all the wounds necessary to cancel the entire state.
Gizmos are still good. They
don't really need to say that because it says the target. Oh no, it would have to say in the requirement that they have. It has to be an allied model with structure.
Oh, yeah.
It should be in
Oh,
the
yeah.
requirement. Yeah, you're right. It should be under there. Good catch.
Killer hacker device or the cyber mask now does not have the -3 because Imp 2 doesn't have that mod.
Got it.
Never
No,
did.
it never did. It was always 0.
It didn't?
Nope,
No.
never.
Never
Someone
mind.
cheated you. Someone cheated you.
I probably
he's
cheated
just
that.
wrong. He's been
Oh,
saying
he's
it for days, and I keep
He's
correcting
just
him.
wrong.
He's like, now they don't have it at level 2, and I'm like, they don't, Dan. They never have. They've never played against them.
Sundowning. What's happening right now?
My problem is it's been like a year since I've used Cybermask.
Fair.
I think that Albedo's change is pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Stuck with that.
Because Albedo is now anti-marksmanship and MSV.
Yes. Yeah. Working on marksmanship is
and
interesting.
doesn't go away. So it's no timer. You can see them all the time now, whereas before it was just I'm invisible. To
It's not invisible. It's
multivisors.
just a modifier. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's mimetism towards marksmanship and
Those
MSV.
things. Yeah.
And there's different levels. There's -3 and -6.
And -6. So it's basically it's like visor marksmanship camo, but it does nothing to people that don't have that skill.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your.
It's anti-camo.
I'm fighting. My friend plays Roma and likes to bring the Zaid and marksman sniper. Now I'm I'm a mimetism against his
Mhm.
marksmanship. And
I wonder if we'll see an albedo camo marker.
I mean,
That would be
maybe.
weird.
That'd be interesting.
They have both. They have just -3 to everything.
No, because camo markers don't necessarily have mimetism.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right?
Then he
So,
just
like,
gets
just-
shot by the Aquila guard.
No, but the kill guard would have the -6.
He was
Does he
going to
get
have it
MSV?
anyway because he just shoots a camo
He
marker.
just shoots camo marker, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it would
Yeah.
be interesting to see if they combine Albert because it doesn't go away anymore. And
Right.
it's effectively just a debuff. It's like a chaff launcher from Metal Gear Solid, right? Like it's a
A
debuff
cool
to
profile
the
that has
thing.
it is the Blackfriar, because he's got like the MSV2 like sniper roost with his rocket launcher,
Yeah.
but he's also got albedo. So other snipers that have
Yeah.
MSV,
He's a counter. He's a counter.
Yeah.
to
he's
that.
like a
Someone
counter
can-
MSV sniper.
Someone can finally try and stop Atalanta from existing.
That's it.
But she has 2 wounds now, so you know.
As soon as if you make your Phase 14 drop.
Well, no, you just put it next
Don't
to her. and then
confuse the
you-
listeners.
You
Don't
just,
confuse the listeners.
She put it next to her and she just picks it up. And if you
It has to
if you
drop
didn't
still.
land it, it's near her because you touched the board edge next to where she was
It's
deployed.
just always
He's talking
happens
about
to the
Speedball.
edge.
He's
I
talking
get
about
it.
Speedball.
He's talking about Speedball, and he's talking
The
about
ultimate
dropping it
piece
down.
of equipment.
Motorcycles, you can no longer get off.
Yeah, no dismount. I think that's interesting.
All
No
the rules around getting in and getting out just are gone.
Yeah.
It's true because there's no pilots. There's just deployable remotes from them.
Mhm. So how do you feel about that? Because I think that's actually a really big change to motorcycles
think
in
it is.
general.
Oh, to motorcycles. I don't like it because there
It
was
made a
lot
bunch of models
instances-
obsolete because all those models had dismounts.
Actually, many of them have shown up as off motorcycle alternates.
Interesting.
Like what's his name? Saito Togan, like the
Yeah.
motorcycle one. He has 2 profiles. Or not Saito, sorry, the other one, Yojimbo.
Yojimbo.
He has a profile where he's just on foot.
Mhm.
You
Huh.
just
What
bring
about
him
the
on
night
foot now.
of the night of
Yeah, no. Not everybody. Not
We don't
everybody
get-
gets to go.
we don't
Yeah.
get the
But-
sweet
but
sweet
that's
rider
Actually,
night?
the knight does get to get off his car as well.
Where is he?
He's the Knight of Montesa.
I'm like,
And then
well,
there's a
the-
motorized Knight of Montesa.
So you can take
But
him
it's 2 different
separately.
profiles.
It's 2 different profiles. Interesting.
He's
They just
almost his
completely
he's
got rid of it.
almost his old boy.
The
I think-
Nomads have the AI motorcycle guy that can
Yeah.
get out, transform.
Yep.
That'll be the last one because you couldn't get rid of that, basically. The Zonautica. He's the only
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that would be able to do it from now on.
the big change too with motorcycles, and all of them got this, is there's now a second type of cover called limited cover, where
Mhm.
you benefit from the armor but not the hit mod.
Yep.
So all of those impetuous bikes, because you can no longer just give up the impetuous, but now there's no reason to, because you'll still get cover.
Yeah,
To a limited
impetuous.
extent.
This is a skill, not equipment, but impetuous no longer gets rid of cover at
Yeah.
all.
It's just it'll say no cover on your profile if you don't have it.
Also, the
Right.
impetuous rules were really better written to understand how you can move and what you can
But
do.
that's skill.
Well, yeah, we'll go through that
That's
in the
skills.
movement stuff.
But
That's
yeah,
another
but anyways,
episode.
but that's a lot of motorcycles are impetuous.
Interesting. So that's a motorcycle getting that change. How do you guys feel though about it not like
I've
not being an
never
option
gotten out of
because
a
you're stuck on the ground floor basically,
I have never once got out of a motorcycle, mostly because I always forgot I could.
right?
But I don't think the motorcycles I'm bringing are like motorized bounty hunters, which are
Well-
actually I got a huge buff. But
It makes specialist motorcycle riders inherently less good
Yeah.
yes,
for getting certain things, right? Like,
but they are better because I mean not better, but they've always been super solid of being able to drive up, grab something, and run away. And so now it kind of evens that out a little bit.
Yeah,
Maybe
they just can't go do it on a building or do it on a, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm. they can jump
very
but just
often, can
not
they
vertically.
jump? No,
Not
can they
vertically.
make the jump skill?
Only they can't jump
motorcycles
now.
cannot jump.
They can't jump yeah, I think
Vertically
so.
or diagonally upwards. They can jump.
Oh, horizontally or downward. Yeah.
Oh, so
So
they
if
can
you're-
go off.
if-
They can ramp
So
down something.
you
they
can
can't go
start on a
towards
roof
something.
and then jump roof to roof.
Yeah.
So long as they're within 4 inches of each other, you could do it, because you have to be able to clear it with your base.
That's very
No.
funny.
No, you don't, because now you only have to have half your base on terrain. They changed that. If you look at the
To
movement,
end your move,
yeah.
you can
Isn't there like a
have to
line?
end your move?
There's a little image where they're in like a corridor.
Or
and
maybe you
couldn't
have-
clear it.
No, but you have to fit, but you can also poke out.
I
maybe
think
you can't
I
end
think
your
being
move.
allowed to walk along it, it has to be half your base. But I think to end your move, your whole base has to end there, unless you're going to continue moving.
I think there has to be space for your base, but I think you can poke out.
Well, as this we will let's
We'll
make
look it up.
Let's
We'll
we'll
look
look
it
it up now because let's make a this is important to the motorcycle thing in general.
It's on page 29.
Yeah, I'm
Just
looking right
movement.
now.
Yeah.
A trooper must be able to finish their movement on a surface that's equal to or larger than their base.
Finish
good?
their movement. It
Yeah.
says that. Okay.
Right.
Okay, never mind. So, but during your move, you're
But
allowed
any surface
to...
they move on must be half width of their base. So Owen can't do that thing he did at Cold of the Carbonite, where he would like wall run along these skinny little teeny walls with his tags. So you can't do that. You have to go to the other side. You can't go up something.
unless you're
using it
vaulting.
anymore.
Yes, you can still vault over it. He
You
just couldn't
can,
walk
but
along
you couldn't
it
go.
anymore.
But you couldn't walk along it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You couldn't like.
Well,
walk
like
around
the thing
it.
is like mechanically along is just on the ground, popping up for free every instance of the distance.
I think you have to, but I think during the move you have to go to the other side. Like you can't. A vault requires you to change sides, right? You can't like spend extra movement going lengthwise along it.
Wait, you're not allowed to vault up and vault down?
No, you can. What I'm saying is what you can't do is a vault is I'm clearing the obstacle. A vault isn't I'm gonna go up the obstacle, go all the way along it like a long wall, and then down the other side.
But like
No,
you
no,
could
No, I'm
zigzag
saying you could vault up and then down off the wall, right?
Yeah.
On the same side. Or are you saying that you have to go over the wall now?
You have to go over the wall during a vault, I think.
I don't
That's
think
how I read it.
It says you can vault over, onto, or off any scenery item whose height is equal to or lower than the height of the trooper's silhouette.
I think you can vault halfway up and then come back down to where you were to get like a peek up.
None of the pictures actually say that.
It doesn't.
I think Ash might be right that you have to actually go over, onto, or off of a scenery piece.
Yeah.
You cannot go on. Well, oh yeah, because you couldn't go onto if
right.
it was something that you couldn't place your base.
That's it.
So yeah, you'd have to do it where in the instance against you, if he hugged along the back of that wall and then vaulted over it at the end, he could do that. But he couldn't.
That's what I'm saying. You can't just skate along the top of it.
You can't just go up and then down again. You can't like step on a block and step down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
When you vault, you have to move over it.
How does that work with looking over like parapets and stuff?
Yep.
Yep.
You just can't.
I'm not going to address that right now.
We're going to talk about that later. We're talking about that later. But for motorcycles, yeah, it's you have to end with your whole base being able to fit where you're ending, and you can't skate along something that's less than half your base, which means obviously you can't wheelie along a wall. It just doesn't work. Okay, so we did motorcycles. What else?
It does say that you can drive up ramps and stairs.
Well, obviously, duh, you're a motorcycle.
Just saying.
But you just can't get off of your motorcycle.
Drive off the edge.
We talked about MSV, nano screens, basically the same. You're just in cover, but it doesn't count as cover. So things that cancel cover don't cancel it anymore. It imposes a -3 BS mod to the attacker's BS attack, and provides a +3 mod to the user's saving rolls. But remember, it can't be used against CC attacks. So if you're being targeted by a BS attack, you get those modifiers. They're not canceled by marksmanship, though, because it's not partial cover.
Right.
So anything that used to grant, it means it also works against templates. +3 mod against a BS attack. So templates would not remove it, which means nano screens are very cool.
I mean,
wait, does that mean you can get nano screen and cover?
No, because most of the things that have nano screens have the no cover rule now. So if you look at,
but if they didn't have no cover,
if they didn't, you'd be able to. Yeah, it would stack. Yeah, it would stack against BS attacks. So if you look at, for instance, in JSA, in Shinobute, one of the new models has it. He's the...
I mean, Aguilo. He was the boy. He has no cover and nano screen.
Yeah, and the new Jazai, Jazamura, I think he's called. Or maybe it's
Jizmurai?
Jazamura. It's a real word. It's the Hatamoto, actually, the Imperial Guard. He has no cover and a nano screen.
The M drone got tactical awareness, no cover, nano screen.
Nice.
As one of his profiles.
Instead of mimetism.
He still has mimetism. No, that one doesn't get mimetism.
Yeah, so he gets that instead, which means it also doesn't go away from
No. None of those bots get mimetism. That guy just doesn't get mimetism.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Well, remember the R drones or whatever, the gun drones used to have them. Used to have mimetism.
And they still have mimetism, but they don't get the nano screen.
Got it.
Yeah.
Visors we already talked about.
We didn't talk about MSV3. We mentioned it in the previous
episode, yeah. But it's basically just additionally, the user can perform an attack on a camouflage marker without previously making a discover roll, but applies the mim mod. Performing this attack does not reveal the target before the rest of the army. So basically, he can shoot camo markers, but he doesn't reduce the viz mod to 0. If he takes the viz mod, he can just shoot.
They reveal themselves because they're getting shot. In which case, they were revealed, and he now ignores it.
Yeah. So he can.
Yeah,
still
that's
fly
kind of
there.
insane. It means like if someone's watching an area with MSV3, camo cannot get even one walkthrough, right?
Yeah, there's, I mean, if you're gonna like suppress, he's probably gonna be walking through at like your minus range, plus you'd apply cover, plus you'd apply his min bonus. You could be minus 12 to shoot him still. Like there's ways of that not being great. Hitting on
I
twos
mean,
with your
But then
Aquila guard.
you want to give somebody three dice
at
to hit
minus
a two?
12,
No, for sure.
He's at minus 12. He still hits on threes.
I know. So that's
There you go.
15, isn't
So
it?
he's hitting on threes for free if you try to
Who
walk
else is at
through.
13? I think also the not the anathematic, the Caronted.
Yeah,
I think is also MSV3.
Pretty rare.
is also 3.
Yeah, MSV3s, the Caronted. He'd be on 14s, he'd be on 2s if he was shooting somebody in full mimetism, cover, and range.
It's annoying
Yeah.
because I don't play any armies with MSV3.
The thing is
but
like,
it's
they could-
kind of cool as well.
They could also all just break suppression, right? Like they could get the plus mods, and all of a
100%.
sudden, when they get one shot on like a
I'm not
7,
disagreeing. I'm just saying it's not perfect. It's not he still ignores the mods and he can shoot you.
well, I guess my perspective of this is that this is one of those things like reducing the damage on a burst, where it went from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
it went from
nothing.
There was
to
never
something.
a potential chance to now there is a chance, and in doing so, it changes the math in like wild ways.
And it's I was gonna say it's also another example of a removal of a non-interactive gameplay experience, right? Where something just doesn't happen to now there's an RNG of it actually happening.
That's true.
You have to think about it because while you're definitely right that there's very few guys in the game who have MSV3, they all show up. Like
Caronted especially. I plotted against Caronted a lot if you're playing against vanilla combined.
If you're playing against any variant of Aleph, you generally see one Asura, aside from Steel Phalanx, of course. I mean, the Aquila Guard was probably not super popular, though he was in the faction that got nuked. But I would bring 47-point multi-marksman disco ball or Aquila Guard specialist who also has jump 8 for some reason.
Did you notice the Marut's gone from vanilla combined?
What?
The Marut is gone.
From combined?
Vanilla Ariana or Bailiff.
The Marut is not gone from vanilla Aleph. He's next to
looked at
Maximus. I'm looking at it.
Why couldn't I see it?
I don't know.
Aleph?
Did you?
I was looking at Maximus. And there's nothing else there.
Okay, you got to reset army.
I have to do that stupid
sorting.
thing again, don't I?
You got to do the sorting.
Yeah. What was the sorting thing again? I forgot about
Type,
this.
unit name,
Type
and then it
unit
doesn't matter.
name, yeah, I forgot we were doing that again.
Type unit. Yeah.
Hate it forever.
But anyway, he's still there. But he also only has MSV2. Maruts do not go. He got +1 CC attack burst, which is just fun because he has 4 arms. And I love that.
Yeah,
it's terrible. Don't ever get into melee. He'll get killed. But like,
might as well have just given him +3. You know, just
no, sure, yeah, why not? Well, it's because he's got 2 arms holding his gun, and he has 2 other arms that have a melee weapon,
opposed to all the other people with guns.
Yeah, well, those guys have to fight with one hand. Like he's got 2 more hands.
He's got all those extra arms, and he's good.
Yeah. Symbiomates are the same. They haven't changed. So enjoy.
X5s are the same.
I guess the one fun thing is that symbiomates don't work against comms attacks, even if they make you roll.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because comms attacks doesn't give you the immunity enhanced that you would otherwise get from symbiomates. I don't know if that was the case before.
No,
but
it says in addition, the symbiomate can be used against comms attacks. It says that.
Right. But then if you read the effects,
it doesn't get the benefit from it.
You get the benefit. You get the arm and the BTS, but you don't get immunity because immunity would make you immune to the effect.
Oh, I see.
Right? Because you treat them as normal ammo or like normal.
You can still get stunned. It's unlikely, but you still can.
Yeah. Or whatever state that they try and put
you
in.
No, that's true. Wait, no, only from.
Well, because targeted works against you now, right? And you get a save, which means if you try and spotlight a symbiomate guy, he has to get rid of his symbiomate.
That's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Don't want to hear it. Yeah, that's awesome, actually.
Or like, for example, if he gets shot by a weapon that does para, which is like a Fizz -6, you don't get the immunity enhanced because it doesn't force the save.
Wait, but it is a save.
It's not a save against your armor BTS.
It says symbiomate is when the trooper is forced to make a saving roll. It doesn't specify. So,
Right.
you
No,
wouldn't get
it
the bonus.
does. It does if you read the second part of that line, but yeah, you don't get to use it.
There's only one roll. One line. It says the symbiont must be used on the trooper when it's forced to make a saving roll. FX.
Right. Replace its armor BTS value with 9, replacing its armor with its profile, and also provides immunity, blah, blah, blah. And then the second line, when they're forced to make a saving roll against armor BTS, blah, 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 blah. And then there's an example immediately to your right in gray where the last paragraph specifically calls out the para ammunition not being stopped by symbiomates.
Because it doesn't force an armor BTS roll.
Right. So that wonderful new addition to Aleph, for some reason, what is he called? The K1 operative or something like that?
That's K1 operative.
Who has a para mine launcher. He's just even better. K2 Auxilia, that's what he's called. And then he's got a mine dispenser para for 12 points. He links. He's no wounding cap. Get him, big guy.
Go
shoot
get him.
those mines. Mine dispensers getting all kinds of different types of mines and showing up in a whole bunch of factions. I know it's like kind of a weapon, kind of equipment is just neat. I like that there are more of them.
The Rushi got it.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people got them.
That's the fighty MSV2, MSV1 Yujing bot.
I'm just looking here to see if a fire team member has more than one Tinbot between them that grants the same advantage. They can only use one of them per declared order ARO. If Tinbots grant different mods, only the most advantageous mod may be used. You can't stack Tinbots.
All the same.
And every member benefits from Tinbots. Since it's all the same. Yeah.
This edition is really interesting in that there's some new things that are like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then you like look at the familiar thing and you're like, okay. It's just like
I have one that transitioned from the previous version that I have a question just straight up because it's relevant to that list that I've been mentioning about how many turrets it can put down. Polaris Bearpode in Cosmoflot has a profile where it has BS attack +4. Does that apply to the smoke grenade?
It's a BS attack. It's targetless.
So
he throws smokes on 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. They got a buff.
Bareback. He's even better than he was before. He has a no failure state smoke grenade.
So this is another thing that the BS Fizz and BS
he has regular grenades too, I'm pretty sure, doesn't he?
Nah, not with that one. You don't get to the one who's not +4 does.
Oh, Cocaine Bear. Which one has the not +4?
Well, there's no more irregular impetuous bear.
There's no Cocaine Bear anymore. Oh, it's just one bear.
There are two types. There's the 35. There's the 35 because you have to bring
it's the alpha and the beta.
Yeah. The beta bear throws 20 smokes. The alpha bear throws grenades.
Got it. But also throws grenades as a BS stack, but doesn't get the plus.
We got when we talk about skills, the loss of total immunity on all of the Ariadna monsters, it's such a big deal.
Stun helps them.
You can stun them, you can goo them. It's all coming back like the way it used to be.
Stunned is worse now because stunned only gives you one save instead of two saves.
And I'm going to airdrop a remove the stun off my bear on his way. So he's going to just pick that up as he goes.
Yeah, it's interesting that immunity armor is just that. There's no immunity total anymore.
Well, there's immunity enhanced, which is immunity total. There's also immunity states, but I haven't found anybody who has that. And I'm really curious when I find it.
No, I think it was referring to immunity as state. So immunity.
Oh, so you'd insert possession. You'd insert. So states isn't. They'd insert whatever the state they're immune to is. Like so immunity crits. It's like Maximus is a tag. It's immune possession, right?
Yeah. That makes sense. I was wondering if there'd be somebody who was just flat immune to states.
All states.
That'd be amazing.
I'm immune to unconscious.
It's just referencing when someone has like a
I'm immune to null.
Yeah, they have like a weird that's right, immune to null. Immune to death.
It just goes directly to death. It just doesn't
wounds. Yeah.
What is that speedball? It says it removes all states from you?
Yeah, not quite all of them. It actually has a specific list.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more. I don't know if we put it in equipment or not, because I think maybe we talk about speedballs here.
Did we talk about turrets? Because we didn't talk about them again.
Those are technically weapons.
We should. They're technically
let's go through all the turrets.
But let's go through all the turrets. Yeah, I was going to say because I do think we talk about speedballs too, because speedballs are kind of equipment, right? Yes. But they're equipment that you buy before the game, and they're a tactical, strategic use command token. And there's 3 uses now. There's strategic, and that's pre-game. Then there's executive, made during the tactical phase, and then there's operation, which is during your turn. So basically, there's things you do before the game starts, and there's things during your tactical phase of your actual turn. Then there's things that happen during the game turn. And the strategic one for Speedball is you buy for a single command token 2 Speedball tokens. And you can use these to select one and roll for another equipment piece from the Speedball table. And boy, howdy, is the Speedball table fucking crazy.
Page 124 for
Yeah.
logistical
For people
command token
reading along.
usage. Page 84 for a Speedball funness.
And man, there's basic, like, just to like sum these up, there's free wound, free structure, and these are automatically applied if the person holding them dies, or if a person holding them isn't base to base with someone that has wound counters on them. Then there's a free jetpack for someone who's size 2, which I think is very funny. Just have a jetpack and it gives you jet propulsion. There's switch on, which basically cancels all the states on you. So it cancels isolated, stunned, A or B immobilize. Overkill, which is reloads all your one use guns, or gives you -1 SR on your next like shot, and then nano shield, which is +2 mod all your saving rolls for a single one. It's basically a baby version of the symbiote mate.
Like, even I never thought of overkill could be like, you get a turret. I mean, you got to get it with the turret. You give them overkill. You run to the other side of the board where there's no baggage to help you out. You throw it, reload from overkill, throw another turret. Boom.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely, you can do that.
Seems good.
What are your thoughts on this, Owen? Because you thought this was a fun, like Dan and you both during our first episode were like, this fundamentally changes a lot of things in the game that are negative play experiences, or there used to be like, you can't get out of this.
The number of, like, again, like Spetsnaz shotgun is going to walk in from the parachute side, and you know where you want him to be, and you call a Speedball down with the Vita Pack, because one thing he's going to see where he's going to walk in, and you walk him in to touch the Vita Pack. So even if he takes a wound, he instantly heals it and is on the move again.
Can you do that though?
Why not?
Well, it's during parachutes, you have to deploy them, and they can't be touching most things. I don't think it says can't be touching a token.
Any allied trooper in a non-state who comes into contact, inter-silhouette contact, automatically picks up.
You can place him in contact with a token. You just can't place him in contact
on
with
the
terrain.
edge.
Yeah,
you can't place in contact with terrain. Actually,
these
Sure.
can.
They
These
didn't know they changed it. Parachutists, but anyway.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you don't benefit from cover the first round. Anyway.
And
go
so,
ahead.
like, if you consider like what that does to the way you can set up an attack with like a parachutist, and you can do other things too. Like, I was thinking about, like, you have like a Volkalak who is going to be your Overwatch piece with like a missile launcher. Notably in this list that I have thought of, that is exactly what exists. Now they have no wounding cap and immunity arm. So they have sort of 2 wounds. And then this gives them a 3rd wound. So it's going to take you a while to chew through this 3 wound TI guy, or our immunity armor guy, who is going to get a free wound whenever you do the damage to him. And you can only do damage once at a time. And it cost me a command token. Like, it was costing me a command token to re-roll the chance of maybe getting a wound back using a doctor or a med kit.
Yeah, and this is automatic.
And this is automatic, and it costs me no orders. I just, whatever I was doing anyway, so long as it cost me 1 order.
You could fail it though. You have a 70% chance of landing it where you want it.
Right.
Right.
And then you also get a second one of some type.
Yep.
But like, yes, you could fail it. But again, for both of the ways that I'm describing it, you'd know in advance whether you passed or failed, right?
Yeah,
so like,
for sure.
You can decide how you want to deploy if this is in your mind right at the get-go. And then you could do other stuff too. Like, you could set up things like Dan was saying, like you could shoot a overkill onto the far side of the board because it's only friendly. Your opponent can't steal these things from you. Where you intend to go to put turrets down and to double tap turret. And then depending on whether it lands, decides whether you go for that plan. And like, you can set that up in advance. And that is a thing that you just could never do before. Like, the things that I'm describing are things that were not an option in the previous like game, essentially in the previous edition. And then just again, the idea that like low, like for example, Shazvasti, who have these bunch of low wound, high mimetism infiltrator guys, if they get unlucky and run into something, you could have set them up with a Vita pack in advance so that they can just walk through it.
Over. Yeah.
Right. Or like,
especially
if you
considering
have that
that fire teams have changed so that you just cannot kill a 2-1 model now, right? So like,
right,
that's
yeah.
it's
in
an
arrow.
It effectively stops you. It makes you like be able to cross a gap, go to an objective point, go to somewhere on the table you want to be, and just not be able to die, and maybe kill something on the way, and like just be alive.
Yeah,
and like the crazy thing is you could literally just shoot them in the middle of where you're headed. Again, all of this has the big asterisk of it has to land. Most of the time it's going to land. Sometimes it's not going to land. But like,
for the measly cost of 1 command token,
right? And again, because the first 2 of those already were going to cost you at least 1 order plus potentially command tokens. And now you're getting an order for a command token, and it's an order that is 100% guarantee, unlike the other repair rules. Like, I talk a lot of crap about not using healing units in any of the lists I bring because I didn't like wasting orders on things that aren't reliable. Yeah. This is a complete game changer for using regenerating things. Like, it means all of a sudden, like we mentioned at the beginning, you put the auto repair suite on your Yodam and you just send them off, and like, whatever.
It's funny how
you can make it consistent, because if it fails the combat jump, it just goes in your deployment and you just pick it up there.
Yeah. It's funny how, and I didn't consider this until just recently, but the fire team changes actually make the gun paramedic less reliable because you only get a single success.
Yep.
Right. So like that old.
But you still get 2 dice.
Yes, but
the guy who has to roll on the other side only gets 1.
Yeah, it used to be a twin linked fizz check to come back to life, and you just had to pass 1.
Oh, you're right.
Now you're only making a single. Yeah, so like shooting that Fusilier and having 2 chances at having him bought back up was a much bigger deal.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So like, the linked paramedic that used to just like shoot cocaine into McMurrow and get him to come back to life. It's still, he's the exception where it's like, well, you got an 80% chance of coming back, but 80% on 2 dice versus 1 was way different.
Yeah. That's like a high 90s to.
It's basically automatic. If you hit him twice, he just comes back to life. Like, it's very hard for him to die. I've done it because, God hates me, but it's, it's not nothing. Yeah, hard agree. I think that I really like it because it's such I like it for the reasons you like it for, hey, look at this like invincibility potion basically I can have. I like it because you have a reactive way of getting rid of your immobilized Joan or your, you know what I mean? Like your isolated lieutenant, or like you just have this thing you just could not do before that you can now do.
But you can also do it like not preemptively, but post-actively, like shoot it
it's
with
reactive,
my big gunner.
It's reactive to whatever.
He's unconscious.
That's right. It's to whatever the problem is.
That's behind him. That's like 2 orders away. I drop a speedball beside him. He picks it up on the way, goes up, touches my big gunfighter. He's up and running again, and here we go. And
it means lists without paramedics, doctors, and engineers have a way of reacting to that, as opposed to having no way of fixing their guy. So it's a very cool ad. I'm going to count it as equipment. Before we get into deployables, I did want to call out some weapon changes to a few other weapons. There were a couple of things. Silence back, which is worth noting. I
didn't know it was a thing before.
Silent does? Yeah.
I know what it does now.
Well, basically, if you use this weapon or piece of equipment to make an attack while inside the target zone of control and outside line of fire, the target must apply the mod in brackets to any face-to-face dodge rolls they make against the attack. This mod's cumulative of the dodge mod. So basically, if you shoot somebody in the back with a silent gun, they've got the -3 for being out of line of fire, and then usually a -6 on top of that. So tack bows are actually really cool.
They're 1 burst.
Yeah.
There's exactly 3 weapons that get this.
Yes.
There's a bow, there's a fancier bow, and there's a silenced pistol.
Bio weapon is a new tag for weapons, which means that we have it doesn't work against structure. Wah, wah, wah. So you get whatever the bonus is.
It's just normal. It doesn't get the extra dice. It doesn't get the DA. But
against Vita, you get the bonus. So for instance, viral.
Oh, so is this viral?
Yeah, this is what viral became as bioweapon.
Oh, so it's the same?
And it's not, because it used to work against things that had structure. Now it only works against things that have Vita. So you only get DA shock against things with Vita. If
Otherwise,
something
it's
has
normal.
structure, otherwise it's a normal attack. That's right.
Interesting. It still gets BTS.
It is against BTS still, yeah.
So if you have immunity BTS or immunity
Then
enhanced,
it
then it
wouldn't
would
do
also
anything,
be
yeah.
normal.
That's right.
Normal. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's normal roll. I'm trying to think what other tags were new here. I think that's it.
We want to talk
Oh,
about
double
like
shot.
newer.
Double shot lets you fire both your +1 to your burst value for your disposable equipment.
That exists in last edition.
Yeah.
Did
That was
double
what
shot
Maggie
exist
had.
before? Okay.
That was why Maggie could.
Oh,
shoot
that's
both.
why Maggie had that. Yeah.
But it's changed. I think that you don't have to shoot both. You can choose to shoot one or two.
And then we have improvised. This weapon or piece of equipment is being used in a manner it's not designed for, making it difficult to use. Welcome to the trench hammer. Things with the improvised trait applies a -6 to the attribute of the user. So whenever you're
trench
attacking with
hammers
something,
have it?
I think they do for one of their modes. Basically, there's some things where their mode. One of them is when you're using whatchamacallit, when you're using a deck charge in close combat.
Yeah,
it's
D-charges.
improvised. Sorry, no,
That's
trench
pretty
hammers
good.
don't. It's D-charges that have it.
Okay.
You have the.
I was
the
excited for it.
-6
I think
with it.
I think D-charges are the only ones who get it.
Yeah. No
It's
more
like a weird new rule
no more
for just
martial
D-charges.
arts. No more martial arts.
No more,
D-charge guys.
no more Andromeda giving you martial arts D-charges.
Yeah.
Wait, you
Which
can't
was
martial
stupid.
arts D-charges as well?
You can, but now you're -6 instead
you're
of
-6
just
to
the
hit.
same as what you were before.
Because you're trying to strap a C4 bag to someone who's trying to stab you. So it's not as easy. So a few.
Wait, but minus applies to the other person.
No,
No.
it says the user applies a -6 mod to their appropriate stat.
Oh,
Yeah, the
that
user.
makes way more sense.
Yeah, it's not giving you
Okay.
a bracket skill. It's giving you
That
-6
okay.
to
I
hit.
thought it was like this is amazing.
No, improvises
No.
its own tag. Yeah, it's just its own tag.
That makes so much more sense in my head now.
EM no longer does wounds.
Yeah, EM does not hurt you. EM is no longer the greatest close combat weapon in the game.
Wait, EM close combat doesn't hurt you?
It doesn't
It
hurt.
only does immobilize, isolate, all the things it did
It applies
before,
states.
but it does not do wounds.
Yeah. So it doesn't do a normal hit plus the state. It just
Yeah.
does a state.
It only does
Interesting.
BTS.
Yeah. It's the little shock baton from, I guess the stun baton's the stun baton's. I was gonna say it's the thing from Demolition Man, but it's basically like a version of that, right? It's like a little zapper. And then individual weapon wise, there are a few changes to some weapons. The first one's the Ohotnik, which used to just be kind of like a weird short range sniper rifle that went up to long range. It's type 2 now, and also no longer spelt with a J. It's spelt with an H. So that one's interesting. We've got the Cobra pistols. These guys are new.
They're the only pistols that get a close combat attack.
They're the only ones that can be used in CC. So Cobra pistols can be used in CC mode or BS mode. In CC, they're PS7, 1 damage, shock. They go against armor, and that's it. And then
For the people that are
When you guys
newer,
said silenced, you were talking about the bows, right?
yeah.
or sounds.
You know, I was about to say, there's silenced pistols.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
Those
said
two.
I said talent pistols.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yep, there's those two. There's a bunch of, I think there's other things that might be solid even too, but the pistol as well.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-Red Fury is a new gun.
Oh, interesting.
It has anti-material, AP, and shock modes.
Somebody's bound to have that.
I don't know who's got it so far, but it's basically a Red Fury. So it's the same kind of like old Damage 13 PS7. Burst 4 AP, Burst 4 shock, or anti-material where it's 1-shot DA.
Oh, so it's got it's multi. Of course.
It's literally I've never seen a multi-Red Fury before, but this now exists. This is a new gun.
Interesting.
Multi-rifles are basically the same. Plasma rifles are basically the same. TT rifles are basically the same. Viral guns are basically the same with bioweapon. T2 rifles, mods across the board stayed basically the same. If you were a rifle, you don't keep your up close mod. So you're 0 at up to 8, and then you go to +3 at up to 16.
Man, Ohotnik stocks went up so high though because of T2.
I did.
Because again, in the theme that we've been talking about, all of the weapons that can no longer down a guy with multi-wound in ARO because of the link change, that still can.
And all our shotguns lost their blast modes. So shotguns are just
in the preview. They
just a thing.
tempted another circular template mode, but that doesn't exist.
It doesn't seem to be here. Nope. They just gave them straight up gunshots. Burst 2 gunshots. Still super dangerous. Like they do what they want him to do. Type 2 boarding shotgun's pretty great. Anti-material as well. Got that tag, so you can blow up servers and stuff with it. Multi-sniper's the same. Plasma sniper's the same. I think that was all. Oh, we have multi-spitfires as well to go with our multi-Red Furies.
Interesting.
So the multi-spitfire has anti-material, AP, and shock modes, just like the
So
basic
what list
did.
are you looking through right now?
I'm
He's
on
at the
page
bottom.
179.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
He's in the reference.
Yeah, in the reference. And then
Okay.
actually 181, sorry. And then and that's all Spitfires. Submachine guns lost their AP, except for the AP submachine gun, which is a whole different gun. So the submachine gun got split into 2 different guns. There's no shock on it at all anymore. The basic one's just against armor. They can both suppress, but then there's an AP submachine gun that gives you the AP rounds, which I'm assuming Ariadne will get lots of because that usually is their thing.
No, they had to give it to Penny because they buffed her into the stratosphere.
Against the Leia, yeah.
Yeah, she's so much better now. It's like hilarious how much they decided that she needed to get better. Just on a random.
Can I tell you what my favorite changes so far? The gun that every Aristea person had, the Contender, is Type 2 now. Burst 2,
cool.
Type 2. Fuck yeah. So
high risk, high reward.
So many people like Contenders. This is the fuck you gun. And if the linked Contender is still one of the most dangerous guns in the game, because you've retained your possibility of killing heavy infantry, which I think is extremely cool. Decharges,
Penny
we said,
need immunity arm? No.
No.
Did she get it? Sure. Did she get a zapper +1 burst? Smoke grenades?
We've got our deployables. Dazers are still here. Disco Baller we talked about, which is our very cool. You can place this with a speculative attack or just a ranged shot, so you can throw it up to 16 with +3. It is +3, the Disco Baller, from 8 to 16, which is a cool range band. And it's a turn on, turn off Eclipse Grenade. And then Mr. Fearbox stayed the same, can be a blast mode or a like anti-tank mode. Our flash pulses stayed the same. Stunned is no longer 2 rolls, which is interesting. It's a single roll stun for flash pulses now. So only 1 roll for damage.
Yeah, we played that wrong.
Yeah, I got stunned real good after saving one, but I failed
We'll
one
see.
too, so who knows?
And then our hyper rapid magnetic cannons got anti-material for DA, anti-AP for arm half 2, and then shock as well for its 5 shots.
That's the
The
same.
big old it's the only actually lethal 5 shotgun left in the game now.
What else is 5 shot that's not lethal?
A link team. You can't get to 5 lethal
right.
shots. This is 5 lethal shots. It
you
actually reigns supreme again.
Haha.
Our boy's favorite gun, the Jammer. Still BS whip. So it is a BS attack now. Comms attack, intuitive attack, disposable 2, isolated, non-lethal, no line of fire, ends on a control.
All that matters
pretty much the same.
is that Toha can't use their symbiote mates to protect themselves from
They
jammers.
sure can't, because it applies a state.
No, it's because it's a comms. They get to use their BTS, but they won't get to use their immunity.
No, you
So
make a saving roll at damage 7 against BTS.
Right, so they get to do it to save themselves, but they don't get to be immune to it. They don't get the immunity part.
Oh, right, yeah.
So they'll be BTS 9, and they'll save the first one, but that's it. Then their bug is gone, and then the jammers come out, or the chain rifles come out.
The chain rifles come out and start killing them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
your Paramines here. Oh, and a new gun, the Thunderbolt, which I want to talk about quickly. But go ahead, Dan.
I think EM close combat weapons do hurt.
Go on.
Because every other EM says non-lethal. But EMCC weapon does not have non-lethal.
Interesting.
It was always a weird one that was in between the rules before that was hard to understand.
Well, look at the ammo types and look at what the ammo type says.
Oh shoot, I lost it. Where is it? Basically, I looked at
keep looking
Bixie's,
it up, and I'm going to finish this off.
Because I looked at Bixie's profile. And
Thunderbolts.
It's no reason why she has non-lethal.
EM is on 64.
So Thunderbolts are effectively machine guns with 2 shots. They get given as offhand guns a whole bunch now. They're a new gun, which is kind of neat. And then we have all of our cool deployable weapons. And these are the turrets, and they come in every possible variety. So it's basically turret plus gun. So you have everything from marksman rifles to combi rifles to rifles to
Adhesive launchers.
Adhesive launchers.
I think there's a Marat one
There's
in
a
there.
Thunderbolt one. There's an emitter.
Yeah, emitter one.
On Yadu or Shakti, sorry.
Yeah, which is
That'd be scary to get
somewhat terrifying turret to
What's
be.
the
So let's
first
talk
combo?
about these. Let's wrap up this EM question and then let's talk about these turrets because these are the thing that Owen wants to talk about the most.
I think they're the most outside of the shotgun change. These are the biggest like shake up to the way you play this game. Like that's my perspective.
I'm only going to oppose you on this because it only super skews for 3 of the factions, and they'll have to write a list around it to make it happen. It'll be I see this as a new version of the guided missile launcher lists from a couple of armies.
I think
It feels like a version of that to me.
The guys who have these turrets, you're already going to bring one, and I think you won't have to skew into it. I think it's going to be an obnoxious problem solver, and that if you skew into it, how bad does that get? And that's what I want to figure out. I don't have an answer to that.
like trying to active turn guided missile people. Some factions could do it, some factions had it in their pocket, and this feels like a version of that for this edition to me.
See, but like guided missile.
Well, let's explain what we're talking about because we haven't explained
Sorry,
it this episode.
going back to EMCC weapon, the
Yep.
ammunition is normal plus EM.
Oh, on the CC weapon. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That solves that problem.
So
So it's the same as
EM
before.
Yeah.
Right.
It is a better DA weapon.
Got it.
That's it.
Because it's half BTS.
Half BTS and applies isolated and
Immobilized.
immobilized.
There you go.
Nice.
So on
Perfect.
the CC weapon, I had just read the EM ammo
Yeah.
type.
The
Still
EMCC
best.
weapon is arguably the best.
Still the
ammo.
best weapon of the game. Still a lightsaber. Perfect. Got it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Okay, so sorry. What we need to explain before Owen goes too far down this rabbit hole is basically these are extra models. They're deployed in your perimeter, so inside your zone of control, which means up 8, over 8, anywhere you want. And they're baggage reloadable. So everybody carries 1. Some factions have access to 7 at a time in the case of Danzo 12. I think you could get 5 models with them in vanilla Ariadna, or no, so Cosmoflot, I think it was
6 gets Cosmo. Cosmo gets 6. Or no,
Cosmo
it's
gets
5.
6.
It's 5.
And there was
It's 5.
somebody else. It was Steel Phalanx had 3 because they had 2
Yeah.
self-attacks and then somebody else.
And then Yadu. Or Shakti, rather.
Yeah.
But they all have. It's one of those like, what quality of turret do you get? And like the Sophatex and Yadu having Mark 12s and an emitter
Mhm.
is scarier than Ariadna's adhesive launchers and rifles, which are different from like.
But Ariadna's scary too because they can do it they can coordinate those reloads or places 3 times per game by taking Wallace.
Yeah, as
free.
the other one too who can do it is military orders can drop them using Joan, because military orders also gets a marksman one, which the Pain Train did not need the ability to throw down marksman turrets to cover their back as they move forward.
So what what Owen's talking about basically is that we now have the ability for certain armies to just spawn new models because these are total reaction turrets, a lot like the ITS turrets, with a variety of guns. And so Owen's mind has immediately gone to how many can I get and how fast can I put them out in the most obnoxious places possible?
Well, it's also the like because you were talking about the missile, right? And how that was really obnoxious to play against. I'm of the opinion that this is much worse because there's no counterplay to this. The missiles, you could at least reset, right? Like if nothing else, you could reset against the attempt to spotlight you. This, you do nothing. This is, unless you can watch every line of fire everywhere, these guys are going to wander around and do what they want to do. And they're going to do it without fail. There's no failure state. There's no like, I failed the whip check to spotlight you, or I rolled a 19 on the missile. They just place the turret. And then there's no failure state to reload them either. They just spend the order.
Yeah, just do it.
And so like, there's no failure state to do this thing other than the time you spend investing into it. And so the question that I don't have an answer for, my intuition is that this might be really obnoxious, but it might not be. It might turn out that like if you invest all these orders, like if you spend your first turn opening up a whole bunch of turrets, is it that the case that your opponent just kills them all and you're like, well, I got nothing, and then the opponent picks up an objective and off they go? Like, is that how this plays out? And I don't know if that's the case. Like
if I have a strong HMG that outranges it, I just walk up and like plink 4 at one time.
Or like if you find an aisle where the turrets aren't watching, or you're like a marker state and you just walk past them and grab the objective and then leave, like does that work for you? Or if you come in from you can't come in from behind them because they all 360, but like maybe that's the answer there. But the big thing with them is the variety of weapon types The fact that they're armor 2, which I think is wild. I think they should be 0-0. I think it's too durable at armor 2, especially when you could put them on rooftops to get them cover mods, because all of a sudden a turret is better than the average line trooper in every faction. It shoots as good as them by within 5% and is tougher and always is shooting. And so like, and they cost no orders in order to, or you don't lose any orders when they go out. It only costs you the order to place it. And then because of the change to baggage, you get them for free every turn. So even if you don't go crazy trying to like place, reload, you can passively just keep putting these out for 1 order per turn because you have a baggage bot, which there's now value in having these baggages. In some factions, get those baggage bots for part of something else. Like the fact that Hawk Islam, they don't have the best turrets and they don't have the best turret game, but they have a Magariba guard who they're going to bring because it's even better than it used to be. And it's going to be in the thick of it where you want to place these turrets. So all of a sudden, some Monstruckers who are throwing down free turrets around it are also able to just consistently do that to cover the angles that the Magariba guard, who does have 360 and can defend itself fairly well, all of a sudden these are on the rooftops around it and these are on the other hallways nearby. So like you can't even get close to this thing anymore. Because your irregular 15-point models are throwing down 10-point equivalents every time they throw out one of these turrets. And like that's where I see that, like, okay, this could be really obnoxious. And like the fact that if you play OSS, you can bring Shock T and 2 Sophatex, and you could spend 5 orders on your first turn and place down 2 Mark 12 turrets, an emitter turret, and 2 pieces of deployable cover in front of those turrets, all across the board, wherever you wanted them to be, within the range of your deployment, essentially. And all of these can reach out and threaten up to 32. And there's just is the Mark 12 32 or 24?
Mark 12 is 24.
24. Okay. So the Mark 12, you need to move forward a step when you do it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is if you're on your deployment line, you move forward 4, you deploy it up to 8. So you're at the middle line.
Right. You want to
shooting the other side of the board.
Exactly. And the emitters are already 16 to 32.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is 5 orders, or even just 3 orders if I don't want to sandbag them myself, for essentially 2 sort of HMGs and 1 anti-any heavy infantry or tag weapon that is in appropriate range bands, and you might not be, is like, I don't know. I think that's wild. And then the fact that they could all just do it in 1 order, because you could coordinate the 3 of them to do it, and then coordinate, reload them, and then coordinate, do it again. And now you have 6 of these things, and it costs you 3 orders in your command tokens. Like,
I think a big part of Infinity is using like smoke or eclipse. You can move up and then pin down people. So at the end of your turn, you don't have to fight them, but then you can have multiple people that all get an ARO against 1 model that's standing that has to move. And then they have to figure out how to deal with that. And with turrets, you just get to place them and do that. And it's just kind of almost free.
Yeah, they're free models. They're free models. You're spawning free models.
It costs an order.
It costs you an order, and sometimes it costs you, if you have like inspiring leadership, which exists in a couple of these armies, it costs you a lieutenant order. And then it doesn't cost you anything to reload and do it again next turn. So even if you're just doing, like, even if you're spending 1 command token per turn just to coordinate placing, even just 2 turrets, you've got 6 free models over the course of the game, right? Even if you're just using 2 orders to do it and no command tokens, you reload for free every turn. You've placed 6 turrets over the course of the game. That's 6 more miniatures with Mark 12s. Like, forget even trying to like do it fast and like pin the board. You've created 6 enemy troopers.
Yep.
That's like 50% of some people's lists.
And again, I like in my mind,
orders.
These turrets are like the equivalent of like 10 to 12 point models, depending on the gun on them.
Yeah.
So like, because the fact that like a Fusilier can't face up one of these turrets because it's even odds he just dies.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Is crazy. Like, and that's the base. Like,
and it's also more
turret.
powerful than fire teams in ARO because fire teams are no longer powerful in ARO.
Right.
That's the crazy thing. Like, if
Like
we really want to break this down, these break out from the changes they've made to the base game here, where they've been trying to make the reactive fire a little less goofy by reducing fire teams. All of a sudden, well, here's these.
And
for some,
unlike fire teams, they didn't get sprinkled evenly. Like,
yeah,
surprisingly, nomads and combined army basically didn't get any. They get like one.
Yeah.
I mean, the combined army one's pretty cool. Dr. Wormbot gets a fun one. He does get his armed turret marksman rifle.
sure
You
does.
only ever get one Dr. Wormbot. And so you get one of these things and you got to spend a bunch of effort to do it. Whereas all of the other factions, again, minus nomads, kind of Hack Islam, kind of Pano, are going to be putting out multiple instances of these all at once for relatively cheap. Like, the guys who are carrying these, especially like the Ariadna ones who are like 20 or less points and they're still a specialist.
It's really the Ariadna ones where we get silly because we have, well, also the Ariadna ones have some built-in efficiency. Like, for instance, the Kybervolk Patrol, who have an armed turret rifle, their AVA2, come with a Kybervolk that's got crazy koalas. So if you use Wallace to coordinate deploy with those guys, you don't just shoot out 2 rifles, you also shoot out 2 crazy koalas at the same time that are equally able to defend those rifles from up close attacks. Right. So and then reload them with your Mulebot, right? Like, that's 52 points to place 4 models on the table in a single Will Wallace coordinate, because Wallace is also in this list.
Yeah. He does need to be part of it, so you only get to put 3 at a time.
Sure.
Just an asterisk.
But even
the other guy just uses his order, right?
Well, like, what you do is you use the Kybervolk's own orders to do it, and then you have the dozers, the KVP dozers, all do it at the same time because they all get rifle turrets. So you put down 3 rifle turrets with Wallace as part of the coordinate. I thought does he have to be part of the coordination to use the special order? Okay, yeah.
But again, he can still different turrets we can get.
Do we? What's that?
List all the different turrets we can get?
Did, yeah. We
did,
mentioned
yeah.
that.
Okay, sorry, I was looking up the EM. Stuff. But I just remember Carbonite, when that one scenario where we were allowed to place 2 turrets. And
oh my god, that game, the one.
And then we had 4. We had 4 turrets in a room, and it was just 4. It was
just think of a room mission. Oh my god, just think of a room mission. Just flood the room with rifles. That's all you did.
And it was like, oof.
And many of these are much worse. Like, they're first off, they're way better guns that all have better range bands.
It's so interesting how, because it always was combi rifle before, right? So it was always like within 16, it's kind of scary because they're, hitting 13s. On 13s. If you're in cover, then it's back to 10s, but it's 3 dice. So it's like, you never want to be fighting 3 dice.
Every army can do some variation of this. And it's which armies can create more models the fastest will be the ones that they get the N5 version of these like guided missile lists.
I do think there is some weight towards like the fact that the Steel Phalanx, like the OSS, has Mark 12s and emitters on there.
Sure, yeah.
Because
they don't need as many guys because they just get better ones.
Like, they don't have as many, but they get to throw out ones that are going to reach out and touch you with weapons that are like that are really scary. Like, these are ones that are no joke. You could lose any model to this. Like you could, a Mark 12 into a tag is a legitimate threat. Like, it's something
it's still burst 3.
It's burst 3 and it's PS5. It's an HMG.
And the Mark, it's funny too because it's on a less of a slouch like model too, because most of those Ariadna ones we're talking about are kind of like they're squishy. The Sophotek's no joke. She's got arm 2 and no wounding cap, right? So just trying to kill her immediately is not going to be the easiest thing in the world.
Dude, Jack Boots.
And she's jump 8 inches.
Yep.
So she can go where she wants. She's got deployable cover built in.
Yep. So in 012, a Jack Boot, he's 28 points, but he has an AP submachine gun, engineer, arm turret, Thunderbolt AP,
and
he's got armor 3, BTS 3, immunity enhanced, Warhorse.
Yep. I mean,
Jack Boot's crazy.
I didn't think he was very good until they added the turret profiles.
Yeah, the turret profile really changes that guy up. An AP Thunderbolt.
He's
and you can duo them.
AP HMG. Like,
yeah, sure is.
Yeah. So like again, it might be that investing in this is a waste, and like you should just put down like one, and like
It
maybe
could be
they
nothing
have,
burger, right? Could be
and they
railing against
right, like it
clouds.
might end up the case that it's like it's like a mine, whatever.
Seems
Here's
strong.
how you deal with it, right? Like the because the immediate counter is like they've also increased the amount of mine dispensers, which are
Mhm.
the answer to the armed turrets, right? Like you mine dispenser next to the turret, and then you fight it, and then it dies to the mine.
It doesn't, because it doesn't activate. I don't think, does it?
When it
No,
AROs to
arrows.
shoot
It
you, it
arrows.
does.
It
Yeah.
does activate, so it would trigger a mine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because it's
so
not. I
it'll-
just think it's equipment on a model. I didn't know how it would activate the mine. But you're
And-
right. It's declaring an arrow. Yeah.
And
That's right.
additionally, if you have a bunch of turrets together, you can place the mine on the far end of the line,
and try
and
and
then
take out a
the
bunch.
and then you
Sure.
and then it has to
That-
arrow.
that
Turret has
one's
to arrow.
less likely, but like the fact that a mine dispenser, the thing is like it costs me 1 order to place a turret. It costs you 2 orders to fight that with the mine.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
even if they do that, unless they're going to kill multiple turrets at once, which is my failure for putting them in such a way that you could do that, then
Okay,
you're still down trading, and you might lose the face to face against the turret.
I think we can equivocate all we want over it. I think the reality is, a simple explanation is you're creating miniatures. Like
Yeah.
And this
the
is what I'm
simple act
talking.
of creating, being able to spawn miniatures. If I just in the first turn waste a bunch of orders spawning 6 extra guys mid table and secure the midfield advantage, you're going to waste half of your rest of your game trying to get through that. And it was non-interactive, and I didn't have to do anything to do it because I can shoot them out with perimeter.
So Owen put some stuff up.
Some
and
fixes, some possible
What
fixes.
I found out was it was like it's hard to like going second is always a little difficult, but it made it even more difficult to unpack my deployment zone.
Mhm.
Where I was like, I got this guy that wants to fight, but now he's like, okay, but there's that turret there now.
And just
And then
slow
it's like,
down. Yeah.
so it's like, how do I kill that turret efficiently? I can like come back and shoot that, and now I have to. And it was just like that extra couple of orders that prevents you from doing other things. To
Mhm.
like, you can shut people up in their deployment zone really easily
Yeah.
with the turrets. And it's like, and the thing is like I don't know, like I think of it like, hey, I have a TR bot, and like a Sphinx is shooting at it, and my TR bot is amazing and it's worth a lot of points, takes a lot of SWIC. It will die in droves versus the Sphinx. Like I played a game versus Owen where I had 3 TR bots as Yu Jiang, and he just walked up and went doop doop doop, 3 orders, all 3 TR bots died.
Yeah.
Right? If you have the right answer for it, you murder them easily. They're not a huge threat, but it takes 3 orders. And you have to deal with them. And you have to have something to deal with them.
And they might crit you.
And they might crit you. And there's
You didn't crit
just,
me, but if you crit, whether they crit or not, you lived another order.
you're
right?
fighting,
Like-
losing no orders. They're fighting, risking orders.
Yeah.
And so it's oh well, we've talked about it a lot, but it's
Yeah.
just it's strong. It's very strong.
And it's available unilaterally to every army, and some armies have gotten to lean into it harder, where their spawn rate will be higher. Now, commensurately, there's going to be like lighter stuff that they're putting out there, like it's just in rifles for the most part. Not everyone's O12, where the jackboot and a monstructor can just throw out AP crap everywhere for 71 points. My one question was going to be for that army in particular: do you have access to extra command tokens? That was the next thing I was.
The alpha gives you an extra command token.
Well, then there you go, because the alpha is going to give you 5 command tokens. Yep.
And he's also going to give me strategos to easily use that extra lieutenant token.
Yeah. And then so what you're looking at is then with the alpha with an extra command token, you're at 95 points to be able to put out, let's say, 6 models in the first turn, and then you buy yourself a baggage bot, which costs you 8 points. So you're at 100 points. So you can have another 200 points of your army, while this 100 points is just making miniatures, just creating shit.
Well, the Psychops have Thunderbolts.
I was gonna
as
say, if you
well.
wanted to optimize, get someone with a crazy queller or a wild parrot in there too, and have them shooting those out at the same time, because you're able to coordinate all the. You're not having to include an inspiring leadership model, so you can use anybody from like who's got a wild parrot. I think somebody's got one, or who's got crazy koalas, which are probably better. Because
I don't think in vanilla.
You have mad traps at the very least. I know there's tons of mad traps.
Do you have mad traps? I guess those count.
Gangbusters, yeah, because they're deployables, right? A mad trap's just it's a crazy koala that sticks.
So That's even worse. It's like place the bad trap in a spot where if you get close to it, you have to deal with the turret at the same time.
That's exactly it, right? That's your perimeter defense. So you put it in the middle of all of them, and you got to deal with that as well. So you're putting out 4 things per turn, including the mad traps.
Because like laying a minefield has always been a fun thing that you could do, but it has a hard counter of like peripherals running through and like grabbing 5
So now
mines
imagine you've got 200 points of, I don't know, the Zeta and random other crap also running around while you've used the 5 orders in this pile or 6 orders in this pile, which is just at like 100 and something points.
At least you don't have to worry about the Zeta having tag aware.
The Zeta sucks now.
Why does the Zeta
so sad?
He lost tag aware.
Weird. I wonder why.
I know, right?
Him and like one other tag lost it. It's because basically if you had NCO, you don't get tag aware now.
Does he have NCO?
Yep.
Did the Seraph lose NCO?
Oh, he does have NCO.
Seraph
or he's
gained
lieutenant.
NCO.
That's right. Makes
Right.
sense.
But does it keep CAC aware?
Yeah, he's better.
God wills it, Dan.
Doesn't have climbing plus hyper rapid magnetic hit. So
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I see that as a good thing, actually. I think that's net fine. It just takes the order efficiency from being stupid on tags. I'm fine with that. If you're the lieutenant or you're I wonder if the lieutenant options also lose tag aware in the other factions on other tags.
I don't think so.
I think they're just better. Yeah, I think it's like a weird. There's a couple of exemptions. I mean, he's still ECM -8. Like, you got that.
Yeah, it's true.
For no reason.
Got that sweet. That's right. That's sweet anti-missile.
The last piece on the turrets too is like, so your baggage bot's going to reload you for free, right?
Yep.
You can ARO deploy a turret. So if you end your turn standing and they move, you can put another one down, even if it means they're going to kill you. So if you're a cheap guy like that Dozer KVP and you're accepting that he's going to die, you can have him just stand there.
Yeah.
And just
throw the monster
and just throw
another turret.
Him. Yeah.
Or in front of him. You put it on where they're headed because it's an 8-inch bubble. Right?
What I was saying is like you could be cheeky and like throw it behind the guy.
Oh, the guy who attacked you. Yeah.
Behind the guy who attacked you so that he can't see it. Above and behind so that he gets fucking the next order.
Like,
he just gets
they're going to spend a minimum of 1 order to kill you.
Yeah.
And you're going to put another turret down that they'll then have to immediately deal with because no matter where they were, you put that turret down in reaction to where they moved. And now they have to deal with it.
Absolutely.
And again, you do that for free because you're going to reload it for free by being near your tractor mall.
Yeah, in the States phase. So I think people will figure this out early. We'll see some people try and skew into it. There'll be some defense against it. It's not going to love going second because people are going to assassinate these guys.
Yeah. Well, that's where the flip side of the coin of is the steel phalanx / OSS the better route if you want to do this, or
you're going to assassinate those hoplites.
Like, yeah, you're going to run in there.
Assassinate those hoplites, and they're going to get there. And what they'll do is so here's the funny thing. They'll use. So is it both states phases?
Yeah.
Because if that's what I'm saying is you'll rush them. They'll push their turrets out while you rush them. Then they'll reload at the end of your turn. Then they'll push them out again, and you basically just giving them a free set of 3 models. You know what I mean? If you go and try and assassinate them. So it is an interesting conundrum. I think some people are going to claim we're making smoke where there's no fire, but I'm excited to see how it goes. I know Owen's spooling up the 3D printer to make a whole lot of turrets right now.
Another fun interaction. Cyber mines. Those useless things that you never did.
Like garbage cyber mines? Yeah,
now they hit everything. And if you're susceptible to EM or like the cyber attack, then you get hit with basically EM.
Yeah.
If you're hackable. If not, it stuns you.
Oh, neat. Okay. So it's like a flashbang otherwise. Cool.
Yeah.
Yay,
so it's like actual useful cyber mine.
And it still immobilizes and stuff against the heavy infantry,
hackable.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Anything hackable. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I thought that was cute.
So anyway, that's my thoughts on what I think is the most oppressive piece of equipment to come out so far.
And
There's
you're
probably
lean
something
all the way into it.
Yeah. I think OSS or SSS is probably the way to start because the one solution that you could have for getting around the turret spam is being a marker state, like a camo marker.
Yeah.
And they get Asuras who can just shoot your camo markers.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, I'll just hide from the turrets and sneak up. And it's like, the Asura
'cause
shoots you.
they can only declare BS attacks, so they can't
Right.
discover, which means anything that's in a marker state just walks around them.
Right. But they can delay against a camo marker.
Yep.
In case you reveal. And so the Asura says, I shoot you. And all the turrets just delay.
Yeah.
And they're like, you want to reveal? You want to die to the Asura, or do you want to reveal and fight all of us? Like,
Which of these would you like to do?
and also, if the Asura hits you and doesn't kill you, you're still revealed.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I do find it interesting that they stuck the profile on the hoplite. It's such a
I like the hoplite.
I like the hoplite too.
He was such a loser in the previous version. Like, they gave him an HMG and they're like, come on, he's good now. And it didn't do anything.
and now he's got combat instinct and dodge and CC attack -3 and natural born warrior and multi rifles.
One
and
of the few guys to keep that immunity total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy he kept immunity total.
I mean, he's one of the. It's not common anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, it's called immunity enhanced now, which means it's
correct.
immunity total, basically.
And again, Penny got immunity arm.
Yeah,
for no reason. The fact that they gave regular smoke to Steel Phalanx is wild to me too. But whatever.
They've always had regular smoke on the Myrmidons.
Oh, that's right, because they had
they're just basic Myrmidons. Basic Myrmidons.
I always thought of like all the Eclipse that they get because
all the characters had Eclipse. All the regular Myrmidons had smoke.
Man, if we talk about lists in there. The change to that limited cover on Impetuous models applying to all of the Steel Phalanx characters is also crazy. So like people who used to have downsize like Ajax and Hippolyta just not. They're like, I'm Mim 6 armor 8. Leave me alone.
BTS 9 because he's got limited cover. Yep.
Well,
there we go. We did it for the gear perverts. I hope you guys enjoyed our breakdown of all the equipment changes for N5. We'll be back in a couple days with our changes to skills. We'll be doing skills, then we'll be doing lists, and then we're gonna just go talk about whatever we're talking about next. So I think
I love talking about things.
Me, I like talking about things too. This is fun. Well, this is us hashing it out, chopping it up, doing what we do best, bringing the straight facts from the rulebook to the population. And yeah, that's it for me. You guys got anything?
Nope.
Okay, bye everybody.
See ya.